Have you ever felt like you're working all day, but only a tiny bit of it actually moves the needle? Or that only a handful of clothes in your closet get worn while the rest just collect dust? Well, there's a rule for that, and it's called the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto Principle. Today I'm going to explain what it is, why it matters, and how you can apply it to literally everything on school, business, health, even relationships. And trust me, once you see life through the 80-20 lens, you'll never unsee it. What is the 80-20 rule? So, what exactly is this magical rule? The idea is simple. 80% of results come from just 20% of the causes. It started in economics with an Italian guy named Vilfredo Pareto. He noticed that 80% of Italy's land was owned by just 20% of people. Later, people realized this applies almost everywhere. In business, 80% of sales come from 20% of customers. In health, 80% of your fitness results often come from just 20% of your workouts. Even at home, 80% of the time, you probably use the same 20% of apps on your phone. Everyday examples. Let's make this practical. 1. Clothes. Open your closet. Chances are you wear the same 20% of clothes 80% of the time. That's why capsule wardrobes are so popular. 2. Phone apps. How many apps do you have? And how many do you actually use daily? Probably just Instagram, TikTok, maybe Google Maps. That's your 20%. 3. Studying. Students, listen up. If you're studying for an exam, often 20% of the material will account for 80% of the questions. That's why past papers and summaries are so powerful. 4. Food. Think about what you eat in a week. Most of us rotate the same handful of meals. That's your 20%. And here's the kicker. The 20% is different for everyone. The trick is to find your 20% that really matters. Why it matters, okay. So why should you care? Because the 80-20 rule helps you focus. Most people waste energy chasing the 80% that only brings tiny results. Imagine, instead of spreading yourself thin, you focus on the 20% that actually moves your life forward. In work, maybe 20% of tasks bring 80% of your promotions. In fitness, maybe squats, deadlifts, push-ups give you 80% of strength. In money, maybe 20% of your spending causes 80% of your financial stress. Hello, online shopping carts. When you know this, you stop sweating the small stuff and put your energy where it counts. How to apply it? All right, let's talk application. How do you actually use this rule? 1. Audit your life. Look at where your time, money, and energy go. What are the top 20% activities giving you the most results? 2. Cut the noise. Stop wasting time on the bottom 80%. For example, if you're building a business, don't try to be on 10 social platforms. Focus on the 1 to 2 that bring most of your traffic. 3. Double down. Put more effort into your 20%. If reading summaries helps you ace exams, do more of that instead of highlighting entire textbooks. 4. Test it everywhere. Try asking yourself, what 20% of friends give me 80% of joy? What 20% of habits give me 80% of energy? What 20% of stressors cause 80% of my anxiety? Mindset shift. The biggest takeaway is life isn't balanced. Not everything is equal. Some things matter way more than others. And once you accept that, you stop trying to do everything. Instead, you do the right things. Think about it. You don't need 10 hobbies. You don't need 100 friends. You don't need to study 500 pages to pass an exam. Focus on the vital few, not the trivial many. So to wrap up, The 80-20 rule is about working smarter, not harder. 20% of effort can bring 80% of results if you know where to look. Now here's a challenge. After this video, grab a notebook and write down one area of your life where you think the 80-20 rule applies. Then, cut the 80% that doesn't matter. And double down on the 20% that does. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with a friend who's drowning in busy work. Because maybe, just maybe, this simple rule could change their life.